In this video, we present a case of complementary use of three-dimensional intracardiac echocardiography during complex tricuspid transcatheter edge-to-edge repair. Our case begins with an 86-year-old female with severe aortic stenosis, status post-transcatheter aortic valve replacement. She initially experienced marked symptomatic improvement following TAVR. However, over the subsequent year, she developed progressive decline and re-presented to clinic with NYHA Class III heart failure symptoms despite optimal medical therapy. She carried a remote history of atrial fibrillation and significant gastrointestinal comorbidities, as noted on the slide, that precluded long-term anticoagulation. At the time of re-evaluation, transthoracic echocardiography demonstrated preserved biventricular systolic function with a left ventricular ejection fraction of 60% and severe tricuspid regurgitation. Given her symptomatic deterioration, anatomic suitability, and comorbidity profile, the decision was made to pursue transcatheter tricuspid edge-to-edge repair. Comprehensive outpatient pre-procedural planning was performed using transesophageal echocardiography to define tricuspid valve anatomy and guide procedural strategy. Shown here were the initial RV inflow views with and without color Doppler, which demonstrated severe tricuspid regurgitant or TR jets with one main jet near the posterior septal plane and another smaller TR jet more anteriorly. Overall, RV systolic function was normal, and the etiology of the TR jet was thought to be secondary to a myxomatous valve and right heart chamber enlargement. A systematic sweep of the remaining valves demonstrated a normal mitral valve with only trace regurgitation and a well-functioning transcatheter aortic valve prosthesis with no valvular regurgitation, or PVL. Returning to the tricuspid valve, the optimal inflow view was selected by orienting the tricuspid annulus as horizontally as possible. This orientation allowed biplane imaging to transect the valve perpendicularly, such that the orthogonal plane represented the grasping view of the tricuspid valve leaflets. A sweep across the annulus in the inflow view was performed to identify the location of the tricuspid regurgitation jets, assess underlying leaflet pathology at the pathologic location, and measure leaflet lengths at the intended grasping location. On the left, the biplane sweep across the anterior septal commissure demonstrated minimal to mild tricuspid regurgitation, while the right panels, as the sweep progressed posteriorly, revealed the dominant tricuspid regurgitation jet. In these mid-esophageal views, acoustic shadowing from the TAVR prosthesis was also evident, particularly anteriorly, limiting views of the septal leaflet in that region. To further optimize imaging, more distal esophageal windows were obtained. The higher imaging angle provided improved alignment with the tricuspid annulus and Doppler cursor, allowing clearer visualization of multiple regurgitant jets traversing the valve. A three-dimensional volume set of the tricuspid valve was obtained, and a multiplanar reconstruction, or MPR, was generated, as shown on the right. In this orientation, the aorta was positioned at approximately the 5 o'clock position. Within the blue box, the red plane was aligned perpendicular to the posterior septal, or PS, coaptation plane, allowing the corresponding red box in the upper right of the screen to represent the grasping view. In this plane orientation, the tricuspid valve leaflets were well visualized with good overall image resolution and clarity. With color Doppler applied, the origin of the tricuspid regurgitation jet was clearly identified near the PS coaptation plane, with continued excellent visualization of the grasping view. The transgastric view of the tricuspid valve demonstrated redundant appearing tricuspid valve leaflets. Due to the horizontal orientation of the heart within the chest cavity, both small and large wheel adjustments were required to obtain the short axis view of the tricuspid valve. This view is the only 2D TEE view in which all tricuspid valve leaflets could be visualized simultaneously. The patient had a 4-leaflet tricuspid valve with 2 posterior leaflets. Here we see the anterolateral papillary muscle, indicated by the red star, anterior to the 2 posterior leaflets of the tricuspid valve. Given the patient's prior history of gastrointestinal surgery and heart orientation, advancement of the probe was limited, accounting for the zoomed-in appearance of the image. On pre-procedural imaging, transesophageal echocardiography demonstrated a 4-leaflet tricuspid valve classified as type 3B with 2 posterior leaflets and severe mixed myxomatous and atrial functional tricuspid regurgitation, with the dominant regurgitant jet originating between the septal and P2 leaflets. Imaging in the mid-esophageal windows were notably challenging due to acoustic shadowing from the prior TAVR, from horizontal orientation of the right heart, presence of a hiatal hernia, and limited transgastric windows related to the patient's gastrointestinal comorbidities. Although imaging improved in the distal esophageal window, adjunctive 3-dimensional intracardiac echocardiography, or 3D ICE, was planned for intraprocedural use to optimize leaflet visualization and procedural guidance. Building on the pre-procedural imaging findings, the patient was brought to the hybrid operating room and intubated in the supine position. Initial efforts focused on optimizing TEE imaging using positional adjustments and low tidal volume ventilatory strategies. However, despite standard maneuvers, visualization of the tricuspid valve remained limited by the anticipated challenges. Given these constraints, intraprocedural imaging guidance was transitioned to a combined approach using 3D ICE with NPR, supplemented by the best available TEE views, shown here were the baseline images acquired with ICE. Biplane imaging demonstrated excellent visualization of the tricuspid valve leaflets with minimal acoustic interference or shadowing. Imaging at -45 and 45 degrees provided the best resolution of the tricuspid valve leaflets. Multiplanar reconstruction from 3D ICE is shown here with and without color Doppler, highlighting tricuspid valve anatomy and regurgitant flow. Although some degradation of the image quality was noted with 3D ICE NPR color Doppler, the predominant origin of the tricuspid regurgitation was still clearly identified at the P2S coaptation plane. The steerable guide catheter was then advanced into the RA under a bicable view. On the left, a sweep demonstrated the ICE catheter and the steerable guide sheath within the RA extending toward the superior vena cava. Next, the tri-clip was advanced into the RA, and under TEE guidance, the system was flexed inferiorly toward the tricuspid valve, with the final frame demonstrating appropriate trajectory toward the valvular plane. The clip was then steered toward the tricuspid valve at the site of maximal regurgitation. Trajectory was subsequently assessed to achieve perpendicular alignment to the tricuspid annulus, the target location. Imaging was then transitioned to TEE multiplanar reconstruction to orient the device and assess gripper position. Movement of the gripper corresponding to the lateral leaflet was visualized, as you can see in the left-sided image within the red box, confirming appropriate device function. After both grippers were checked to be normally functioning, the clip was oriented towards the intended grasping plane where the majority of the tricuspid regurgitation existed. Given her anatomic constraints, transgastric views for clip confirmation were unable to be obtained. The device was advanced across the valve plane, and an initial grasp was attempted. However, leaflet visualization was limited on TEE. Imaging guidance was therefore transitioned to ICE with NPR, as shown in the two images at the top of the screen. Using ICE NPR, the clip was directed toward the septal and lateral leaflets, and a grasp was performed. Color Doppler demonstrated an improvement in TR. However, residual regurgitation persisted. TEE imaging was subsequently used to confirm appropriate leaflet grasp and ensure the absence of side biting. As demonstrated in the bottom right image, the septal leaflet was visualized as inserted, but not fully captured or optimally seated. To optimize septal leaflet insertion, a second grasp was performed, as you can see in the top left TEE image, followed by clip closure. Tricuspid regurgitation was reassessed after closure and demonstrated significant improvement with only a minimal transvalvular gradient. Moving from left to right and top to bottom, TEE demonstrated satisfactory leaflet insertion, which was subsequently reconfirmed using ICE. The clip was then deployed under ICE guidance, with post-deployment assessment again performed using ICE to confirm clip position and leaflet capture. Final Doppler assessment demonstrated a low transvalvular gradient. Final ICE and TEE color Doppler assessment demonstrated minimal residual tricuspid regurgitation. The procedure was completed without complications. Post-procedural images demonstrated a well-seated tri-clip at the posterior septal leaflets with minimal residual tricuspid regurgitation and a mean gradient of 1 mm of mercury with preserved right ventricular function. The patient was discharged after a 6-day hospitalization that included prehabilitation with pre-diuresis. At 30-day follow-up, echocardiography demonstrated stable findings. In summary, this case demonstrated severe tricuspid regurgitation on pre-procedural TEE with successful reduction to minimal residual regurgitation following triclip deployment under combined TEE and 3D ICE guidance. Importantly, right ventricular function remained preserved immediately after the procedure, and follow-up TTE at 30 days confirmed a durable result with persistent minimal TR and normal RV function. Building on the clinical outcomes from this case, it is important to highlight why adjunctive ICE can be particularly advantageous during T-TIR. A key strength of ICE-guided T-TIR is its ability to overcome many of the imaging limitations encountered with standard TEE, especially in patients with gastroesophageal pathology, prosthetic valve shadowing, mitral annular calcification, or horizontal heart orientation. 3D ICE provides a more proximal imaging perspective of the tricuspid valve, allowing more consistent and reliable leaflet visualization. When combined with NPR, ICE enables precise device orientation and leaflet grasping in complex anatomies, enhancing procedural confidence. Additionally, in select patient cases, the exclusive use of 3D ICE may obviate the need for TEE and general anesthesia, thereby potentially further reducing procedural risk in patients with GI pathology or vulnerable RV hemodynamics. While ICE-guided T-TIR offers important advantages, several limitations merit consideration. The technique is technically demanding and requires significant expertise in catheter manipulation and real-time integration of 3D ICE with fluoroscopy and TEE, particularly in patients with complex right-sided anatomy. Current 3D ICE color Doppler and NPR image quality is inferior to TEE and requires careful interpretation. The approach also adds procedural costs due to single-use catheters and necessitates additional venous access and close coordination between the proceduralist and imaging team. In summary, adjunctive ICE can meaningfully expand the feasibility and safety of T-TIR in complex, high-risk patients by overcoming imaging limitations and enabling precise leaflet grasping, while avoiding the risks associated with more invasive tricuspid interventions.